Hands
His angle
from
there,
Nathan,
nice,
big
nice
left
kick.
Here comes Jordan,
Jordan come back with those hands again.
Oh, yeah. Your boys are back again.
Back after participating in democracy.
Yeah, democracy. Did you get a democracy sausage, though?
I didn't. By the time I got to the polls, it was barbecues were off.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's un-Australian.
Yeah. So naturally, I donkey voted.
Yeah. Well, I voted on the Friday, so there was no sausages anyway. It's like, see how it is. But
You want to know an interesting fact about this election?
What?
The majority of Australians voted before polling day.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
just get it out of the way.
That's just a fact.
There you go. Fact of the day.
Yeah. I don't know why I felt the need to bring some election coverage into the podcast, but
Bring it in a bit. Let's see. Yep. So we're going into this week. You got your fight coming up soon.
I do.
Yeah. Talk a little bit of one championship that just happened and a
Controversy.
Oh, there is, isn't there? That seems almost like a running thing now. Each event with these big fights on.
Yeah.
but let's get into the one championship first.
Yeah, let's start with this.
Let's see. Should we start with the very controversial one, or we'll just work our way up?
Let's work our way up.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, there was a couple of good fights because we had the quarterfinals of the flyweight Muaythai World Grand Prix tournament from there.
Great.
It was like all the fights turned out really good as well.
Yeah. I think I would probably say across the board, no surprises. You think he's probably
the people that you
fair
think are going to
assessment?
win.
Yeah, I think.
So one of the matches was Savas Michael versus Amir Nasiri.
This was an interesting one.
It's been a little while since Savas been in the ring as well.
Yeah, a couple of years. I think he hasn't fought since that loss to Taki Naito, who's also in the bracket.
Yeah.
This was an interesting one. Like, to me, this was like kind of the sleeper fight of the tournament because this was, I suppose, like there was every fight has kind of like a Thai superstar or a one ex-champion in the fold. So this was kind of like the two outliers, I guess.
Yeah.
No, everyone knows Savas. But also I thought Amir Nasiri was a little bit of kind of like a tournament dark horse. And I was expecting like a real war here. But in the end, like Savas just control of range and distance management. And Nasiri couldn't even really touch him.
Yeah, it was hard to get close. He split his nose open pretty early. I feel like I really like Savas. This one, like he didn't search to kind of stay into a firefight with Amir. He just kind of picked his shots really well. Great time. It looked like he tied himself up from his last fight he had.
Yeah.
Learned some good lessons from that. And I'm back on this Savas train again.
Yeah, of course. Savas is really highly touted. I think for a lot of people, the Naito fight was quite surprising. Like he had that loss against Lodzilla in one championship also, but it was kind of, it's Lodzilla and also it was a bit of an awkward loss. Like he got swept and remember he stuck his arm out and
jolted a little bit.
Yeah, so kind of it's not like he got, I don't know, I guess we didn't see that much in that loss. And I just think Naito was a little bit overlooked when they fought and just kind of got dropped and flashed. And it was, I think Savas is one of those guys that a lot of people thought was just going to kind of storm his way into title contention and then was held up by injury and COVID and all that jazz. So it's cool to see him in this tournament. And yeah, some interesting plays in this fight. I thought I kind of just thought a very patient Savas, but very active Savas also. So it's not like he was sitting back and waiting, but a lot of this was kind of a back foot game, kicking away the leg and then kind of swaying way out to exit and took advantage of the fact that Nasiri is a little bit of a charger.
Yeah.
Also interesting to see Nasiri in that wide surface area of the cage and in a circular cage. You see it does change the game in how a predominantly aggressive fighter has to set their work, and that's why you'll look at guys when they do it for the first time, I think end up looking almost like they're running across the ring, and that's kind of what I saw from Nasiri here, and I think Savas did a really good job of picking shots, and when he cut Lasiri and busted his face up, I thought like did a really good job of playing to Lasiri, increasing the urgency.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like just once Lasiri kind of started to, he did a good job of kind of like manipulating the composure, I thought. Yeah.
It's interesting, yeah. Like same thing when it's your first time in there, and not like I wouldn't know either, but like just like how many facilities you have would actually have the proper ring that one uses, for, like in how they like train for it as well.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, again, I've not done it, but I can imagine it being one of those situations where it's easy to overlook the difference that it presents, and a lot of people don't have the resources to train to fight in a giant circle. I've thought about it a bit. Like I think it presents a lot of difference. It's certain styles, some styles it's kind of the same, but like the way some people like to fight, like with the absence of corners and the additional surface area, it's going to change your approach, and I can see that being something that's difficult to consider or difficult. I think you can only learn it by doing it. Yeah, that was interesting to watch because I thought with nowhere to kind of, I mean, Savas had obviously prepared very well for the way Lasiri likes to set his work, but if you watch any of this, like Lasiri's a very accomplished stadium fighter. He is one of only 3 or 4 non-ties to win an Omnoy Stadium belt. And he smashed Petchmorakot Jimmy for that title. So I think like no slouch, and Savas was very well prepared for to catch Lasiri as he came in, as he sort of started, and not kind of wilt to that aggression. And some interesting exits from Savas, like even to the point where at times looked quite open. Like you'd be like, yo, if you want to sway back like that from the punches with your hands down, like could get you in trouble, but was pretty dialed in with it and worked well.
Yeah, looked great. And like, we'll go on to the next one now. So we've got a lot to go through today. So much. All right. So let me pick. This phone decided just to click off. Give me half a second.
Would have been Superlek and Takinato next, no?
Yes, you are correct. Superlek Kapunai versus Takinato.
To me, this was the fight of the opening bracket.
Superlek
coming in
aggressive.
Yeah,
like looked really like want to take Taki out.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I thought, especially through round 2, Superlek looked like he was fighting for the knockout, and that's not typical Superlek style. I think Superlek will kind of let you run onto his kick. Like he'll just sit back and fire off that right kick. But even to the point where I thought there were like Taiki Naito is very, very good. He's beaten some really accomplished ties within one championship. And I think Superlek respected that. And I thought like there were times at the first round that looked quite scrappy.
Yeah.
Almost. Like it wasn't this super clean because I looked at it like I thought Superlek was really trying to get this guy out of there. And it was cool to see Superlek work beyond that kicking range and the elbows in this fight. Wicked. And I thought in round 2, he was also piecing Naito's leg.
Yeah, smacking it out.
Leg but yeah, I thought in round 2 this wasn't going to see a third. But Taiki's good, man. I think Taiki just good and super tough.
Yeah, tough. Kept himself just enough out of trouble.
Yeah. But one-way traffic for the most part for Superlek. I think he's the man to watch in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely so. Then we go to Walter Gonzalez versus what's it, Joseph Cruz. This is like an interesting one because like a lot of people were talking about this as well because Cruz came in from the alternate bout. He was meant to fight Pampayak. Jonathan Haggerty had to bow out because of sickness.
Yeah.
From there. Interesting switch up though. Like, it was like, putting Cruz instead of Pampayak.
We were talking about this before. And like that's what like I think like when I was looking at this tournament bracket or the whole card rather, I was like, okay, cool. There are some sweet alternate bouts here. And knowing that they had Pampayak on the line, to me, like, this is like such a superstar tournament. That you're like, it's really good that Pampayak is in the fold elsewhere because these things fall apart. And like the idea that if any of these 8 guys has to gets hurt or can't make it through a round, which is such a likelihood in a tournament. You've still got like someone who can hold the status of the tournament if you have to put in the replacement. And of course, the worst happens before even the first round. Jonathan Haggerty, who was like, I think from a fan perspective, a lot of like he's very, very popular. Yeah. Of course, just by nature of being a Westerner and an English speaker, like someone who can, like a lot of, and has that nice style. A lot of the fans really, really back Haggerty. When he had to pull out, I thought the logical choice would have been to put Pampayak in the tournament.
Like, like a accredited champion.
Yeah, like a guy who
has a good run and won as well.
Yeah, so I'm not sure on the details why maybe he can do it or something like that. And like we were talking before as well, maybe it has, I don't know, because he was in the alternate anyway, so that's why I'm not.
He's training.
So, yeah, but the idea maybe him and Rodtang, of course, both being Jitwang non guys, maybe he doesn't want, because that, no, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have set up.
Well, they had to go.
The winner of this fight was, it would have been in the final rather than, maybe he didn't want to do it, but then I can't see why you're in the alternate bout anyway. But because like the way this fight looked is it looked like Josue Cruz had come in on super short notice, but he was training for a fight with Pampayak. So Goncalves just fought like a man on a mission.
It's actually like you saw him like Walter just kind of sat in that lower stance and like take a few shots, but he just goes pinpointed and it just folded in with a body shot. And that was it. Yeah,
the body shot even like to the point where he was already on like the body shot was followed by that big hook back upstairs, but like he was already
a couple knees to the face
on the way. Yeah. Yeah, but it's good for Walter. That's what we always talk about this when there's this tournament. One's done a few of them now. It's just drama. Things change. Because it would have been interesting to go from, Haggerty's a tall order for a first round of a tournament. And then maybe at the last minute it could have been Haggerty out, Pampayak in. That would have been big drama. Yeah. But of course got Josue and just fought like he was in the first round of an 8-man. So who had the easiest run through the first round of this tournament? Walter. And that's why I like tournaments, especially when they're one night, but when these are generally quite quick turnarounds. I'm not sure exactly when the date is for the second, but it changes the dynamic of the following rounds of the tournament when someone has a much easier run through the first round. Yeah, so he would have taken absolutely no damage.
Yeah, just 20 seconds of work.
Yeah, so
it was good night for him.
And that, when you got like the rest of this lineup to kind of step into not carrying, it's a hard ask anyway, but not carrying any damage against any of three guys who have had, even if they didn't have hard fights, they still had went the full rounds and accrued some damage on their bodies.
No such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah. So interesting, just creates like an interest. It's always one thing. I think when you're looking at matchups in tournaments, it stops becoming about just how you would view a match for a single fight. You have to factor in what's happened in the tournament thus far and stuff like that. So interesting one, and probably the reply. I have to think the opponent switch probably made it more beneficial. I didn't really see Walter walking over Haggerty like he did.
Nah, definitely.
His crew, so
that's it. Walter got the lucky straw that
night.
Like
who knows who would have won that fight? We would have had to see it play out, but I have to think we probably would have seen 3 rounds out of the 2 of them.
Yeah. Most definitely. And then the last one for the quarterfinal tournaments from there, we had Rodtang versus Jacob Smith, which I didn't really. I think I saw one fight just looking, but not much known about Jacob Smith making his one debut. Trains out at the Bad Company Gym, UK. So comes from a very credited stable.
Yeah, solid guy.
And it was a bit of a squash match, wasn't it?
A little bit. I thought. I mean, it was Jacob was supposed to fight Rodtang when Mini T ended up. Remember, Mini T came in on super short notice. It was Jake. It was supposed to be Jacob Smith and Rodtang. He's well accomplished. Like I've seen him fight a few times in his fights in the UK. He's beaten some good guys and has, I guess, like a similar style to Rodtang.
What's just sit in front, low
Yeah,
kick, use the hands.
Forward pressure, hands in the back. Yeah, Rodtang just a little bit. When I watch Rodtang fight sometimes, like the first round of this fight, just the way, not just the speed, but the way he moves, like it looks like it's a video that's been sped up.
Yeah.
Like he's got that little bit of jerky, and then like the speed at which everything comes, it looks like you're watching it at like 1.5 times or something.
It's just reactionary times.
Yeah. Great. But I always watch this stuff. Rodtang's obviously crazy aggressive, but he's really smart.
It's probably like one of the best people I've seen do it. Like,
yeah.
It's just like you just kind of think of that style, like, yeah, it's just a bruiser style, like, take one, give one. But not really for Rodtang. He'll take he'll do like, you see the clips of him doing the showmanship, so like, hit me in the face.
Yeah, but that's a game.
Yeah.
That's not.
It's mental.
Yeah. And like there's so much you can pick up in this fight, the way that I loved the way and it was a little bit different to what he typically does. He was setting his elbows from his hands, like really classy. And what I liked that stood out to me was the way that he will throw, like he's obviously got a big right hand. He will watch the way, if you go back and watch this fight, whether he shoots that right hand on the inside of his opponent's guard or around the outside of it, just like a little bit of a kind of subtle difference will dictate what he throws next, and the way that he'll throw that little solid short right hand to the inside of the hand and then lock an elbow or like come over. Like, yeah, really, really smart in how you think of him as this big puncher, but he's often thinking beyond that boxing offense. Yeah, really, really smart. He did some sweet work with the elbow. The first round, he was a bit of a battle. Jacob Smith came out really strong, but Rodtang just round 2 and 3, just that pressure.
Yeah.
Too much.
Well, it's almost like he just takes away, like taking in the information what Jacob's giving him, and then he kind of goes, all right, okay, I think I know what I do here.
Nice teep as well from Rodtang.
Yeah, just that little step forward teep.
Yeah.
Balance. Yeah. Off the leg. Yeah, just great. I just like watching him.
Yeah, great. I just think it's like a common misconception that Rodtang is just this like drowning walk forward fighter. Like he is, but like the way that he disrupts his opponent's rhythm and base to set these boxing based offense, like, and he protects himself. Like sometimes he does let the other guy just punch him in the face, but like he protects himself really well on the way in, just like in an aggressive way. Like it's not like it's not like evasive. He's not. That's why I think people don't think of him as like a defensive master. It's more like, I'm just going to put you, like, I'm going to be aggressive, but I'm going to put you somewhere where you can't deal with it. And that's using those teeps and those frames with his hands, touch with the hands a little bit, and then cover in with the elbows. It's like impossible to deal with.
Yeah. And so that makes for an interesting story, like this whole next bracket of fights that's going to come up then.
So is this a vast Rodtang?
Yeah, on that one side, Savas Rodtang, which is, wow, that's a great fight. It's a great fight. And then the other side, you got Gonzalez versus Superlek, which is like, yeah.
Yeah, I think the best, not necessarily, there's a lot of good scenarios here, but I think everyone, and you can see by how, like, you can kind of see what they build towards by how they arrange the bracket. And like, I would love for this to end up in Rodtang Superlek.
Yeah, of course.
Because these two haven't fought.
Oh, haven't they actually?
No.
Yeah, okay.
And there was a lot of talk when they were in the stadiums of the Rodtang Superlek match, and you can talk about so-and-so didn't want to fight so-and-so or whatever. We don't really know, but yeah, it would be really, really good.
It would be a really good fight.
And yeah, I mean, it's the thing, like, you know how it's always tricky when you've got the world champion in the tournament, because like if they do both progress and like both have to fight really tough opponents, so can't say it's something that's I would say that's probably the odds on. If I was an odds maker, that would probably be my tip for tournament final. But like if they both progress, surely it's a title fight in the main event. But like I don't see why you can't do that. And a 5-round, I want to see. I don't.
But what's the history of like one's Grand Prix? It's just like its own title. It's kind of separate.
You get your own belt, and a lot of the time, like in the kickboxing one, it was cool because Giorgio wasn't there, and then the winner got to fight him for
Yeah.
the title at the end. That's cool.
Mhm.
You know, because am I getting that right? Super Bomb won a tournament and then fought for Trojan.
Oh, no. So this
I
gets a
can't
bit
remember.
messy.
Yeah, I just remember fights. I don't remember tournament brackets. Yeah, but anyway. I would like. I mean, I think you can just take it on a situational basis. Like if they're the two that get through, I mean, they love their belts, so like it'll just be they want to give the winner the tournament. But then like you've got, I don't know, it becomes a little bit difficult to digest. Yeah. If Rodtang, for example, wins this tournament and now he wins this big silver belt, but he also had that's what made sense to me is you win a tournament, you get that big silver belt, whatever.
Yeah.
If you want to give someone a belt. And then you can challenge. That's your opportunity to challenge for the gold belt. It makes some semblance of sense. But then if you've got Rodtang wins and he wins the tournament title in addition to already being the reigning champion, it's kind of like, I don't know. I guess
he's the champ.
I mean, like, it's whatever. Like, the belt for the tournament is just a trophy. It's not a defending thing. That's fine. But to me, if I'm organizing this, which I'm not, it would be like, if that's how you end up, then you up the stakes at the very end and you're like, this is now for the title as well. That makes sense to me. And make it 5. I want to see, personally, I love one championship, but I would like more 5-round fights. And I don't see the need for that fight. Like a tournament final could be 5 rounds too. I'm pretty sure that's not the go generally. I think the tournament finals are still 3. Which is fine. They're still fun fights. But I think there's additional considerations when your world champion is entering the tournament. But because a lot of the time when they started doing these tournaments, they didn't have champions in the weight classes. And it was like that was how they established their rankings, which was cool. But now that if you're going to, like, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure like Bellator run Grand Prix and they will let the world champion go in. But every fight on the way through, if the champion's in it, the title is in play.
Yeah, they could lose it in the tournament.
Yeah, and that kind of makes it spicy.
Yeah.
I think you could do that, but then you've got to do, I think in that case, every fight in the tournament's 5 rounds, which I'm 100% on board with. But then it also gets a little bit weird if you're doing 3-round fights and then one of the fights in the bracket is going to be a title fight. It doesn't make sense in a tournament. So, I don't know, maybe that's an idea. Just make it like, every tournament fight is 5 rounds and the title is like, I find that really cool when the title is changing hands over the course of a tournament and then you could have a completely different divisional landscape at the end.
Well, it kind of makes sense. Like if the champion's in there and it's at the correct weight range from that and you lose your fight, then you lost the title essentially.
Yeah, you're not the champ. And then, because then it becomes confusing when the champion loses but doesn't lose their belt. Someone else wins a different belt for coming out of the tournament and then what you match them. I don't know. To me, I think like the title thing becomes really weird. In these major promotions, it's very like professional wrestling style of title holding, which is fine because they don't really, like, in reality, they don't mean anything anyway. They do, but like you can, it's just it's a promotional tool. But for me, like if you're trying to be logical with it, I would have the title in play the whole way through because it could be fun. Like, you could see the title change hands at every stage in the bracket. And then, like, it's when they do the draw, it adds that little bit of drama where, like, someone is fighting for the world title. In just adds stakes a little bit. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, definitely. But, one. They like to do their thing. So, but we'll see at the end. But, like, at the end, like, going to semifinals now, some really great matchups, which not too sure what the date is going to be on. But
yeah, I don't know if they said that.
It should be awesome.
Put it earlier in the day for sure. But
yeah, of course.
Actually, this one was a little bit earlier, I think.
It was all right. Still gets past my bedtime though.
Way past mine.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to the co-main event here. Oh geez, a little bit of a Cinderella story.
Yeah.
This one ended up being was it Prajanchai PK Sanchai Jim? He was the current champ at the time there. Versus Joseph Lasiri, which like he seems like he's been around like one forever now. Like he's had a fair few fights there.
I'm pretty sure Joseph, if I'm not mistaken, was in, like, he was one of the first one Super Series guys. I think he fought for the world title before. I think, no, he might have been in the first
Super Series
fight. Because I know he fought Same really, really early,
Mm.
and that might have been like one of the first one Super Series fights. Been around since the very beginning, and like they just threw him to the. He was the first person to get subject to what one Super Series was. Got thrown to the wolves. He lost his first 4 fights.
Yeah. Just like, had a very rocky start.
Yeah, lost to Same.
But then, like, it started kind of piecing them together a little bit as well.
Yeah.
It's like, just kind of find his own way. And like
Moved down in weight too.
Yeah, it helps as well.
Yeah.
It's like, you looked in this fight, he looked like bigger.
He looked much bigger, yeah.
But this one itself, weird ending.
Funny ending, yeah. Well, there's a couple of interesting things here. Like I know Joseph reasonably well. I spent a fair bit of time with him over in Thailand and trains like a demon. But like he trains a lot like a fights, like he's just a lunatic. But he's actually trained quite extensively with Prajanchai. He's done some extended stints out of PK Sanchai, and I've seen those two train together. They were similar in size, so it made the most sense to kind of get those two fighting each other. And at the time that Joseph was there was kind of when Prajanchai was making his move to the international scene. So Joseph stylistically would have been very helpful for Prajanchai as this precious stylist, not like a traditional stadium fighter. So I know, like I've seen them clinch and spar a ton. So Prajanchai would have felt like he had a bit of a read on Joseph, and that's invaluable training experience for Joseph coming into a world title fight, having kind of felt the way Prajanchai moves, because he's quite unorthodox. He's a different tempo of a guy to deal with. He's got that like Energizer Bunny style, like constant just always something. And you could kind of say the same for Joseph. He's like a swarming kind of pressure fighter. And that's what I thought the game Joseph was playing here, was just drown Prajanchai, use his physical size. Throwing this really nice right hand over the top of Prajanchai's guard and some sweet step-up knees. Just looked like he just smothered Prajanchai to the point where Prajanchai wasn't sure what to do, but then busted his face.
Yeah.
With a knee?
Was it a knee?
Up center? It could have been an elbow.
I wasn't even saying it was like an uppercut off the left hand.
Oh yeah, like man, there's
a lot of stuff going.
Yeah, it was swarming at that point, and maybe it was accumulation of the lot, and then
because it wasn't just one cut, was it? Might have been a couple cuts.
Yeah, they're like a really across like the eye line, and was it between 3 and 4 or 2 and 3?
I think it's 3 and 4.
Yeah, Prajanchai just got back to the stool and said he wasn't going back.
No muss.
Yeah, and what I'm here, because this was kind of an awkward ending, because he said, you can see him shaking his head like, I'm not going back out. And it was him telling the referee, I'm done.
Yeah.
Not his corner. And his corner were arguing with him and saying, no, you're going back out. But what I'm hearing now is that Prajanchai got back to the stool and realized he couldn't see.
Okay.
And that's why, I mean, fuck.
Fair play.
Fair? Yeah.
There's a lot of blood in him, man.
But yeah, you look at a guy just winning a world title fight from because he's obviously tactically very good, but like a lot of hunger was a big part of Joseph's game here. He wasn't going home the loser. And I liked watching this. I always like to see a guy battle back. Like I'm sure he was quite written off in this fight. I don't think a lot of people would have been tipping Lasiri to beat Prajanchai here, but he didn't just beat him. Absolutely dominated him.
Like, yeah, smashing him up. Especially going into that before he quit. Yeah, just going to work with the hands, elbows, bit of everything. Yeah,
really strong performance. And that new one championship belt is so big.
Maybe they're just so small, those guys.
They got to scale the belts for the size of the dudes who win. Like I heard Chivello talking about, it's the largest world title belt in combat sports. How do you know that?
Let's get them all lined up.
Yeah, where is the record of that? But he said something like I'm sure at some point he said it weighs. No, maybe I swear he said it weighs 26 pounds.
Jesus Christ. No wonder people are slinging it over their shoulder and not putting it
on that's what I noticed as well. Like Chachi only puts it on dudes' shoulders.
But you can see he's like touching, he like heaves it. He goes,
yeah, it's so big.
Just take it.
Like, don't quote me on that. I need to go back and check. But I swear I heard it was pretty late at night. I swear I heard him say it was 26 pounds of gold.
Oh man. But it's a huge fucking belt.
Like you say, a Cinderella story, and Joseph got the 50K too.
Good on him.
Which is sweet.
He deserves that.
Yeah, he deserves it. He's a really hard worker.
Be interesting, like, would it be like would they even give Prajanchai a rematch under what happened there, or would they just go, oh, maybe go back a bit and slot someone else into fight Lasiri next?
I think there might be some. I would imagine someone else will come next, but I'd imagine context will kind of clear this up for the corner team stuff. But you know how sometimes when he goes in to do the official decision, Chachi looks kind of mad.
Yeah,
I thought he looked kind of mad.
Just how it ended.
Yeah, maybe not happy with Prajanchai not coming back out. But this one I never understand. Like, I saw a few posts like, I've never seen a Thai quit on the stool like that, and I can't believe Prajanchai this and whatever. But Prajanchai's had a lot of fights, man.
He's not a documented quitter.
If he said can't go back out, there's obviously something up. Like, he didn't just lose his heart in one day.
Nah, definitely not.
And you know, maybe he's at the back end. Like, Prajanchai's like, even for a Thai, he's had a lot of fights.
Yeah,
like he's in the 300s. And he's been fighting boxing recently and stuff as well, so he would have had even more fights than that. So maybe he's coming to the end. I don't know, because he's not super old either.
Yeah.
Maybe he's coming to the end. Maybe, I don't know, but I just think, like, to me, I'm generally of the opinion that championship caliber fighters aren't scared of fighting. Yeah. So, like, yeah, he was obviously just like beat down to the point of not being able to feasibly continue. Yeah, I don't think he just. And yeah, maybe he was a little bit. Maybe he took Joseph lightly.
Maybe,
you know, coming off the big win over Sam A.
Like, you know, no disrespect to Joseph, but I don't forget a lot of people were like putting their bets on him to win.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe Prajanchai just. I've seen Prajanchai train, and he's not like a get off the couch and go fight a Westerner kind of Thai. Like, he really puts it in. Yeah. Trains it. But I mean, that could have changed since I was over there. But yeah, maybe just mentally he was not expecting to get this kind of push from Joseph. So that's it. It goes to show, though, you know, like, I mean, maybe this is optimistic from me, but I think maybe the game's changing, and the mentality for the Thais is changing. That they can't just assume easy work from guys like Joseph. The
gap's closing.
It's, and just like the knowledge is changing. Like, you got to go, like, it's a different situation now. Like, Joseph spent a lot of time in Thailand. He trained at PK where Prajanchai trains, but also has trained extensively with Pet Thai at Sichapo. So Joseph and I've trained at the exact same places over there. That's why. Just by chance. Like, we trained in the same place for like months at a time. Yeah. But yeah, like, there's a lot of knowledge. I think, I want to word this correctly because I don't want to be too optimistic, because like you can get tricked there as well. But I think, like, there's not this they're not playing a different game anymore. Like, we know how to.
It's not just like, you know, you just got to run forward and keep hitting him with hands.
Yeah. Like, the knowledge is available now, and even just Thailand as a training resource is available now. And I think, like, add in the hunger that these guys have to beat the Thais and really close that gap, is that you're going to see sometimes if the Thai champions aren't hungry enough, guys like Joseph will come in and take advantage. So
Exactly. Which kind of leads into our last fight as well. So Petchmorakot Petchendi was the current champ versus the challenger Jimmy Vienot from France, and like lots of controversy on this fight. Controversy. But like, this is like also one of those things again that you can see the gap closing between like I guess Westerner to Thailand kind of mind frame. Like, because Jimmy Vienot looked fucking awesome.
Yeah. Let me just, before we get into it, I want to see where the listeners are at from the Instagram poll.
Put the poll up.
Yeah.
Let's see the ratio of what
I think I know what the
yay
consensus
and nay
was.
So this is when you put up, like, what did you think of the decision?
The vast majority disagreed. Actually, a lot of answers. But there were some agreements as well. I won't name anyone who messaged through, but interesting one. But like, the 3-1 majority of the listeners thought Jimmy got gypped.
Yeah. So if like, okay, let's look at like the rounds a little bit. Like, you know, I think everyone's in agreement. 1, 2, 5.
Jimmy.
Pretty clear. Yeah, Jimmy. And then, like, you know, the third round, Like, Petchmorakot came back
Third
to
is the
strong.
swing round,
Yeah.
right? Like that was the round where Petchmorakot started to be like, oh,
And then you can talk.
I got to,
and then you
I
can
got to
talk.
fight this dude.
And then then the fourth one is where the knockdown happened. But that goes into the thing of like, is it an automatic 10-8?
And this is a bit to get into here. So on watching this fight, I scored it for Jimmy. But I do think there are a couple of considerations that make this fight close. Like, to me, I actually do believe this was a fairly close fight when you really look into it. So 1 and 2, I think I haven't really spoken to anyone who scored those for Petchmorakot. 3 was pretty close to the point where you could almost make you could probably make an argument for a 10-10. I probably I'd have to watch it really closely but that's a fight. I believe, like, I've talked to a lot of people that were like 1, 2, 3 clear as day. Jimmy, I don't really agree with that. I think 3 was a bit of a swing round and maybe could have been a draw. I was probably leaning Jimmy's way, but it's also you got to resist, like, some natural kind of bias will come out when you're watching a fight, because that was around where Petchmorakot started to push back, and that could almost make, like, the distinct change in Petchmorakot's approach and demeanor could make you credit him more for that round. It can make you kind of be like,
like a little bit more of an emotional response.
Yeah,
like he's coming back.
yeah, exactly. When I actually think Jimmy was still doing most of what he was doing in rounds 1 and 2, just with a little bit more opposition from Petchmorakot.
Yeah.
Round 4, this is, as you say, an interesting one to discuss, because the commentators on one always say knockdown means 10-8 round. And, like, sometimes, like, for example, I remember in Glory Kickboxing, that was a hard and fast rule. If there is an 8 count, it's a 10-8 round. That was written. In Muay Thai scoring, as I understand it, it's not a guaranteed 10-8 because you scored an 8 count. For example, if you soundly lose the majority of a round and then knock someone down, you've probably just battled back for a 10-9 when you're looking at cumulative damage. Knockdown versus the rest of the round. This fight, the way the commentators presented it, again, was 10-8, but I've been told that even in one championship, you don't have to give a 10-8 round.
Okay.
And then, so I don't know if I've ever had, like, 100% clarity on that for how it is scored in one. But if I was scoring this on the outside, would I have given it a 10-8? I don't know. Like, it was, there's probably an argument for it.
Would you consider like more like an off balancing or a flash than like
It was a knockdown. He was clipped and it was a mad punch, but you could see that it was not. Like maybe in a stadium or something, the way that Vienot hopped straight back up, you would have just chock. Yeah. Because he was good. Like, you could see, and like that's kind of how you'll score off the 8 counts as well. I think it was a good 8 count, but he still had it together when he popped right back up. There was no ongoing damage from that knockdown. He got right back in the fight and started to maybe the best argument for him snatching that round back to a 10-9 was beyond the knockdown. So I think you've got to consider that. Like, a knockdown is not all knockdowns are the same. So as a judge, you've got to look at the overall impact beyond the actual count. And Jimmy was okay. And he came back, was very active, landed well. So it's an argument for a 10-9. And then the 5th round, like, Petchmorakot seemed to just be protecting his lead, his perceived lead, I suppose. Yeah. But Jimmy was still, it's one of those fights where you've got to look at this like, it's not like Petchmorakot was protecting a lead by controlling Jimmy, keeping him around, kicking him away, so much as just choosing to not engage and trying to kind of dance the fight off. So Jimmy was still landing, was still pushing Petchmorakot back. It's just that Petchmorakot would respond by just moving away, which doesn't void Jimmy's points because Petchmorakot's choosing not to fight him. Jimmy's still kicking that leg.
Yeah.
Still letting
Still got to fight in that last round.
Yeah. So I would give the 5th round. Again, it was a pretty close one. Like just a bit less happened. I think actually both guys were kind of trying to
protect a little bit.
but I thought Jimmy landed more and more cleanly, like was more engaging with more scoring blows as opposed to Petchmorakot, who was just trying to do everything he could to not fight. So I think for me, upon a first review, I thought 1, 2, 5. I thought 1, 2, 5 cleared Jimmy. I probably could have given Jimmy 3 as well. But I think, okay, so the point that I'm making from the beginning is that there's probably a reasonable argument for a draw.
Yeah.
And in one, there are no draws.
So
I feel at this point that so where that draw would come from would be 1, 2, 5 Jimmy. If you swung for Petchmorakot, third, and then gave him a 10-8.
Yeah, knocked down in the fourth.
So of course in a one Super Series fight, there's no draws, which I actually think is kind of cool. I don't really like draws. But I think they could be a bit clearer about the sudden death scoring criteria. Because and then like if you're black and white about it, great. Because I think in this case you're just going, okay, first order of business, did anyone score a knockdown? Okay, give it to them. That's okay. It'll give you some weird scores, but if you are really just trying to go no draws whatsoever, okay, that's fine. But you just got to let us know.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Because I also find that they don't announce. I would like to see them announce when it is a draw that's gone to what do you call it? You know, like because I would like to say Judge 1 scored it, 47-47 and then as a, like, because it just gets a little bit more confusing. I would like to see the scoring kind of reworded to give you a tiered system of because basically it doesn't make any sense to say in the event that you cannot pick a winner, pick a winner. Right, like that's what it is. Like in the event that the fight is too close to call, just come up with who won. Because it makes me wonder if there is a way to split it. Because that's what you're saying to the judges. If you score it a draw, split it at the end. If it can be split, why is it a draw? You know what I mean? Like maybe you should have scored the rounds differently. But also I think you can just do a tiered system of like, okay, if you reach the end of the fight and your scorecard is a draw, here is the criteria. And maybe this exists, but I haven't seen it. And you could be number 1, did anyone score a knockdown? Yeah. Number 2, were there any major fouls? Number 3, and that's where you can start. That would maybe make it more sense. I do just think this is a fight where I see it going Jimmy's way. Yes, but I also think it was like you have to acknowledge that this was really close, and there's a couple of scoring kind of criteria rules at play. Like when you really look at the numbers, even though it appeared that Jimmy was winning the majority of the fight in terms of time, once you factor in damage and like potential drawn rounds, it is pretty close. It was interesting. Like I think it's tricky with one that we see these really high end fights, and it feels like we're talking about scoring every single time.
Because it's not clear or it's not laid out,
which makes it kind of exhausting. But it's funny. Jimmy's had 2 funny ones in a row because he got that win over your Witcher. I remember.
Yeah. Maybe it's just karma.
Well, that's what I always talk about. I've seen this heaps of times. I always talk about robbery karma. I feel like every time someone wins a marquee fight that they should have lost, same thing happens in reverse.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's interesting. There are a few things to because there's other like factors as well. And like I think the biggest thing for Jimmy fought a really, really good fight. And especially in the early rounds, I thought the way he framed Petchmorakot's offense, like kick that leg
smash that leg.
Load that big left kick up and run him over the top. Like some really nice, like a really nice angle through like a left cross just over the top. Because Petchmorakot's been really bullying guys around with that jab. Like he's been boxing a lot recently, and you can kind of see that coming out in his more aggressive kind of new one championship style because he was much more of a Muay Thai fighter.
Which
in
kind of
stadiums.
blends both well into his style.
Yeah, definitely. And I thought Jimmy just had a good couple of answers to that. And then, of course, just finishing everything with those sweeps. Really threw Petchmorakot over. Maybe 10 times.
Yeah, with those sweeps as well. Like, Ellis had to warn him a few times, but he was hooking the leg a fair bit.
That was, yeah.
Does that factor into anything at all?
That's the other thing I think is an important consideration is that as a viewer, you're looking and saying, okay, there's quite a strong visual to sweeping over and over again. Mm-hmm. And there was a million of them. And like sweeps on their own don't necessarily score big. They can definitely be a difference maker. And in this case, I thought they were big or authoritative sweeps. Like he's really just tossing, like showing a strength advantage from those sweeps. However, there were a number of illegal sweeps where he kind of just plowed forward and took more than the allowed 2 steps, or hooked the leg. There are a couple of leg hooks. And as a judge, you have to be watching for what you don't credit. So whereas a viewer, because it was paid by the commentators, but Elias was super on top of it, best ref there is, warning Jimmy. And it's why you have to be like an official rather than just a ref or a judge, because you have to have the perspective to not score the sweeps that are not quite legal. So there was a lot of legal sweeps, but there was a couple of fouls. And my question is, did that factor in to the judging where they kind of taking some credit away from those sweeps? But then again, like most of the rounds, even when there were some illegal ones, like Jimmy was doing all the work.
Yeah, he was doing all the damage.
It's interesting. What I find the most interesting is like one is so built around their Thai stars, but it's not stadium fighting. And I thought Petchmorakot really fought this fight like a stadium fight, because if you took this to be like, even though Jimmy was winning those first 2 rounds, if you just score them as draws, that makes a big difference. And of course, the 4th round is the big one. And Petchmorakot, like looking at this from like a stadium perspective, and if you look at that, you kind of view the way Petchmorakot fought this fight through that lens. Yeah, he probably did win that fight because it's like almost a 1-round fight. He draws round 1 and 2, battled back 3, clear, drop. Like if you drop a guy in the 4th round in Thailand, like
it's done.
You just protect it. Yeah, and that's what he did. And in the 5th round, he probably wouldn't really pay. You'd be viewing it as like, you've really got to snatch it back to take away from that knockdown, rather than in like more of a Western approach to scoring. You'd be paying what Jimmy was doing, because at the end of the day, he was still landing well in that 5th round. Like again, 5th round was close, 3rd round was close, 4th was of course Petchmorakot's. There's a couple of like just how you interpret scoring kind of things at play. But yeah, upon watching, I thought Jimmy was the better fighter of the 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, Petchmorakot. I don't know. It's interesting. Interesting to see. I guess like my take is, I'm with you guys. I thought Jimmy probably won this, but I also do think there are a couple of factors I need to review on my understanding of scoring in general, especially as it goes in one championship. But also, like, it was a close fight. Yeah. It was a close fight. I think that's before we start to get too conspiratorial. This was a very, very close fight. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a good fight as well. And then, yeah. We'll see. Well, there's this one, it's like same thing. As Chachi goes, need a rematch.
Is that what they're going to do? Is that what they said?
Well, no. Just on those, the Chachi timeline a lot of times with these type of fights.
Do it.
Seem like a lot of outcry.
I hope that's what they do. Hey. Send it to Chachi's fucking imaginary board to overturn, but unfortunately, that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
When the non-Thai wins. No, actually it does, because it happened to Petchmorakot. Right?
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yes, of course. All right, cool. And that does our one breakdown from there. Overall, good night of fights.
Yeah, big night of fights. Did you watch I know you were a jiu-jitsu guy. Mm-hmm. Did you watch the jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I had eyes on it.
I don't know anything about it, so it was your thoughts.
The real Thai brothers are just really good. And they train out of Andre Gaval's, I think, gym. And, I was watching the Gary Tonin one. I'm a big Gary Tonin fan.
Well, I know that's a big deal, right? Yeah. For Gary Tonin to get taken down, passed and tapped in.
Yeah, it's like it's not something you really see.
Yeah.
Because, most of the time he scrambles a lot, and, he's really good at kind of getting out tight spots, but I can't remember because they're brothers. So I can't remember the exact names, but like he just kind of went in for the Darce choke, just had it locked in and just no way out. Like, that's a pretty rough run for Gary Tone, like getting knocked out in his championship bid for the MMA title against Fann Lee, and then getting submitted by Rulatolo. It's like, I don't know.
Do you think this becomes a thing about, again, like I don't know anything about grappling, so I'll just ask. Is it kind of a matter of like, if you're trying to do both things, you won't do either of them well, you know what I mean? Like, do you think spending that time in MMA has maybe pulled away from his pure grappling?
Probably. Like, I've been experimenting with it because there's a few boys that's going to do MMA from there, and so like, it's so much different. Like, you don't want to be on your back. You're like, fuck this. Being on your back sucks and you're gonna hit. But like, it can definitely take away. I guess it's similar to like same thing. You're gonna do kickboxing and Muay Thai. Like, they both will help each other, but spending one more than the other will kind of take away from each game if you're going to just like, do a match in one style.
And kind of like having one as your base is different to trying to do both. That it's like, you almost have to be like, I've done this and this is going to feed into my MMA skill set, but trying to constantly dip back and forth. I've never thought that would be like, I talk to guys that are kind of in the early stage of their career that are doing Muay Thai, and they're like, I want to do Muay Thai and get into MMA. I'm always like, you should just do one. And like, if you're going to do MMA, you should just go and do MMA, because like, I just don't see it done well very often.
It doesn't feed into each other very well. Yeah. So, but same
I'm
thing.
not sure if grappling's the same.
Pure jiu-jitsu definitely is like it. That there's a lot of good elements going in MMA. Yep, definitely doesn't like. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same deal.
Yeah, and interesting play for one now to be doing submission grappling stuff.
That's cool. It's good that like these guys have an outlet to like, like do professional fights, and there is like a really big surgence in professional grappling nowadays as well. Even like in Sydney and that you see it, which is great. People getting paid for it, like in a sport that usually you're just paying their nose through just to participate.
Pay to play sport, yeah.
But like, but it was good to see. And then the other match with Shinya Aoki versus Rule. So that was really interesting. Well, I might have fast forward through a fair bit of it, but
I was asleep in this one. But that's not disrespect to grappling. It was just late and I was tired.
Yeah, but it was same thing. It was interesting. It's just like these young guys coming up against the older guys and older MMA guys. So
yeah, Shinya he's very very old. How old is he? He's like deep in his 40s.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been around.
He looks old. No offense.
He's definitely got a grappling head.
Like I feel like if an Asian guy looks old, they've been through it because like
was it the Asian don't raise to a point?
Ageless.
All right, so let's go quickly. So you have your fight next weekend.
I do.
Rebellion Muay Thai.
Back on the big show.
Nice. And your opponent is Tim Nguyen.
Yes.
You were meant to be matched up before.
Yeah.
But it fell through, so they pushed it back a bit. Tim himself. This is a bit of a step up fight, finding someone of your caliber and experience.
Yeah.
Tim has a good record of like sleeping dudes. As well. And it's a good matchup. So this is 5 3-minute rounds at 70 kilos. Do you know what part of the card you're on?
Nah, it's probably. I don't know.
Post an opener.
You probably
open the show with a bang.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty big card.
It's a good card. So. We'll go through it a bit as well. But like, how's the prep been going? Like, you would have finished it up yesterday?
Mostly
put on the main stuff.
Yeah, most of the main stuff done. I still more or less train as normal Monday and Tuesday of a fight week for a Saturday fight. So we'll keep hammering away. But I think, of course, like the kind of strategic stuff, I guess you'd say, is done. Like, we know what we need to do now. I'm fit as I tend to be. We actually went down for the weekend to Albion Park. I've been doing that a little bit. I go down and stay with, because Aaron, my trainer, he lives in Albion Park, Shore Harbour area, and he comes down. He has 2 gyms. So we got Sijuton in Banksia and Sijuton in Albion Park, and Aaron splits his time, so he's with us 2 or 3 days a week, and he's down there the rest of the week, and I just kind of go down there. It's a little bit like Albion Park it's a newer gym, and they have some fighters out of there now, but they, like the majority of the stable of Sichuan fighters are in Banksia. So what I did this weekend is I was there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I just kind of go down there and stay and do like a bit of an intensive where I can, which is cool because Albion's obviously not that far away. It's a bit of an annoying drive. You go down there for one session, but it's not that far away, but it feels like you're not, I mean, because you're not, but it does feel like you're getting out of the city. Like, especially if I stay, like I sometimes go down and I stay in the gym, and that can be a little bit like, because it's right on the, like, if you have driven down to the South Coast through Albion Park, you've driven past the just one down there. Yeah, it's just like at that intersection.
One horse town.
Yeah, just past the the fast food places like and the car dealerships when you're just on that high. Yeah, it's on that highway, like where the go-karts are.
Nice.
Yeah, and right. You know when you drive past like the little airport and the it's right.
Awesome.
It backs onto the airport, right?
Okay.
So yeah. So that's a little bit, it's still cool I like the focus side of it, especially when I was like, because I go there and I train and I just sleep in.
Well, I think we talked about it last time. It's like your version of Big Bear.
Yeah, it's like that. But it's also a little bit maybe nicer when I stay at Aram's place, because then you get off the highway a little bit and get to stay quiet and closer to kind of the Shell Harbour village there. So that's a little bit nicer to kind of relaxed, just go down there, because I can work remotely too. So I can kind of just get away from the office and get away from the city and just spend some time. It feels like, and also then you got you're there for the weekend to just wake up, train, sleep, train, which is cool. I enjoy it. And we got a crew Nat Mongkol Tong down in Albion Park now, so it's been cool for me to work with him a little bit. He's really, really good.
Have you noticed anything different than any other trainers working with him before?
Oh, always like, yeah, he's got a really... I've been actually crew Nat. I've been really, really just impressed with. Like, I haven't trained that much with him kind of directly, because like when I'll go down there, he'll kind of do the class side of it and Aaron will just train me. But he's held pads for me a lot and just really good, strong pad style. Like, because he's a jack dude. So you're not going to bully him around on the pads, and really likes to. He's very good at making the pad work fight specific, but a very good IQ trainer. And I've just been really impressed by, how well he because of course English not his first language, but how well he communicates. How well he can kind of just action. He's got this really like a lot of Thai trainers have this style, because he's been based in Phuket at Simbi Muay Thai. So of course been training a lot of Westerners. So I always feel like a good trainer in that setting learns to speak with their movement. And I've been really impressed with Nat, the way that he can explain something in detail just by showing and kind of like that. Like, yeah, he's been really cool to work with. It's been good to get to know him as well. He's coming down to Melbourne with us.
Awesome.
So yeah, I've been enjoying that. Feel good. It's nice too, especially I think timing wise, good to just get that last push in that little bit more of an intensive kind of way. Stay down there and really just dial in and focus for the last few days, and yeah, feeling good.
Nice, excellent. So make sure you bet on your on your boy on Ladbrokes.
Yeah, see the odds, eh?
Yeah, that's it. I don't know what the odds are, but yeah, why not? Get into it.
I got sweet odds last time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was buying like $2.50 or something.
That's a good bet.
Yeah, it should be. I like this match. I think it's going to be a good fight.
Yeah, most definitely. Let's go through some of the other fights just quickly from here. So, so you got two of the girl fights on that one. So you have Return of Spring Seer on the card.
This is Ida.
Yeah, and then you also Joanna La. So I'm not too up on the Tigers, but yeah, it's Pinky's family gym over there.
Yeah, I think Pinky was the connection here, because I know Spring and Joanne were like super hard to match for this card, and it was like it got quite late in the game where they were still there as to be confirmed. I was worried that they wouldn't get matched, because I was looking forward to seeing them fight, and then Pinky came through, had to reach out. Apparently they would talk about opponents from all over the world.
Oh, yeah?
I suppose
53 kilos, hard the match.
Joanne. Are they fighting both? Fighting at 53?
It says 53 here on the card, both of them.
Both sides are interesting. Yeah. Apparently they're talking all over the world about matches that were falling through, but Pinky set it up, and these should be really good fights. I think the Thai girls are a little bit smaller than their opponents. I'm not sure what their kind of preferred fight weights are in Thailand, but also, of course, over there they would be weighing in same day. So it's different. Like Westerners just typically cut a bit more weight than Thais in general. But these are fun fights. I think Joanne's in wicked form, coming off a big national title win over Nakia Wright not that long ago, only a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And both of Ida and Blankdonoi? Yeah. Are in pretty good form in Thailand. I'm pretty sure both, from what I've seen, have been doing some boxing in addition to their Muay Thai. I notice Ida is quite like she's been fighting as like quite an aggressive puncher. Like I think she's gonna like look to play quite a forward game with Spring, which is always interesting because Spring does like her. She's got that nice kind of sit back and counter kick kind of style. So that I think that's a very interesting match. I think Blankdonoi is a little bit more of a counter fighter herself, but not. I from what I've seen from both these fighters, they play different games based on the situation. So I'm not sure I have enough information to say concretely how they fight, but I have seen Duang Donoi play a bit more of a step back knee and kick game. Really good with their elbows as well. I like the matches. I think they're going to be really fun. Matches. Yeah, really nice stylistic matches. I think it's going to come down to, not come down to necessarily, but probably some questions about like how the Thais, like they've got the craft, but it's going to be on the Aussies' physicality in a lot of ways, and that and athleticism and things like that. I'd probably put that in the corner of the Australian girls in both matches. But fun fights. Looking forward to them. I've been following. I've been seeing the two Thais fighting on kind of like the entertainment shows like Muay Extreme, Fairtex Fight Promotion, Thai Fight, stuff like that. So not wary of like a Western centric kind of fighting cadence and tempo, because they are, all of those shows are sort of 3 rounds.
Yeah.
3 rounds action scoring kind of fights, but also they've done the tournament thing as well. I think they've had fairly similar career experiences, because I'm pretty sure they've both done like the WMO games and stuff like that. So again, experience against an array of styles from different countries and boxing too. So yeah, a lot of the right kind of experience to come and take on Western fighters. If you look at what typically we see as being the potential advantages from the other side. So yeah, looking forward to them.
Yeah, awesome.
And good to see Spring back on Rebellion too.
Well, that's it. It's been a little bit. It's been a while, so yeah, it's good to see it back on there.
Big Spring fan.
Of course we are. So what's another fight? There's so many fights. I look through this. God damn, there's so many.
It's a big card.
Fights, eh?
Yeah, and this card to me is one of those ones where like when you really start to read into it, the matches are super super fun.
Oh yeah, well, like one I'm really looking forward to. Like I'm looking forward to all of them, but like this one, like Carter Lawrence versus Brendan Hardcastle.
See, I'm interested in this one because I know they are both welterweights, but when I picture the two guys, I think of Carter as like twice the size of Brent, right?
Massive. Well, when he fought, was it Yod? It was like 69, 70? Or maybe 68. I
think it was 68.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like, but yeah, it seems like this one's 67.
Yep.
Set forward from there. And but like, yeah, Carter is a massive person.
But Brandon's a young guy. He could be a fair bit bigger since the last time. I've only I think we fought on the same Roots show. Once, and he was definitely heaps smaller than Carter then, but again, young. So when I see them at weigh-ins. But the thing is, most welterweights are smaller than Carter.
Yeah, that's just a given.
Just fucking huge.
Just towering.
Big, tall guy.
So I guess like with Carter from his last couple of performances, we're looking to kind of make a little bit more of a statement. So yeah, when he fought Joe, from that one, lost the decision against Joe.
Yeah.
And then before that, Darren Chen as well.
Draw.
Draw. Yeah, sorry, draw.
No, before that was a draw with Jordan Fielding. And before that was a draw. With
Yes,
Darren. Yeah.
exactly. That's right.
So he had 2 consecutive draws.
Yeah. It's like, would you, if you're a Carter in this aspect, would you think about like getting to work a bit earlier? Like kind of trying to like pick up the scores a little bit ahead. If you're getting these type of outcomes.
Yeah, possibly. I think like if you're constantly going to the cards with your arms up, you know what I mean, and it's coming out a draw, need to put a stamp on it a little bit more and maybe just look to. I mean, his game is to he uses his frame really well. He likes his knees in the clinch and stuff like that. Just maybe about just getting, as you say, into work a little bit earlier, getting a hold quicker.
And they're being more aggressive in those fights.
Try to play the tiring game early as well. It'll pay dividends later in the fight. Really, if you can sit that frame over someone. Like I would imagine when they get in the ring, he'll have a few kilos on Brandon.
Yeah.
So that can make a difference if you're going to play a clinch-based game. But because that's also interesting because Brandon's a bit of a firecracker, right? Like he likes the aggressive game. He's quick, and I think quickness is like when you fight someone who's got Carter's just sheer frame and plays that walk forward and smother clinch game. Quickness has got to be something that you look to.
Can't get tacked down.
He can't be in one spot, and he likes a bit of a war. Does Brandon likes to really kind of have a scrap, and with that, he's got to be on his bike a little bit because Carter plays a slightly more stationary kind of game. He wants to pin you somewhere and really make you carry him around, get those big long knees going. So interesting match, fun style fight. I think. Yeah, maybe a bit of a step up fight for Brandon, but he has been fighting at a high level over in WA. He's been
attacking them together. Like stepping up a little bit, which is it's like good for his development.
But just by nature of the way things have been the last year or so, Carter's had access to guys from interstate. He's fought Darren from New South Wales and Jordan from South Australia and Joe from New South Wales via Thailand, whereas so maybe it just feels like a step-up fight because the WA guys haven't been able to come over.
True.
So it's good to have those back. And you can see what it does for the quality of the card, being able to get WA back in because all of these interstate matches are so fun.
Yeah, it is. And we're going to keep making them. So also as well, we have return of Chris Nguyen versus Zach Anderson talking about another guys coming back from interstate.
I really like Zach. I really like both these guys.
Yeah, well, Chris's last fight was on 1, but that's got a couple of years ago now.
Yeah. And I think another one of these guys that was in sort of a tricky spot in terms of got contracted to one, and he won his one fight he was in Vietnam a couple of years ago now, and maybe borders and I don't know what the reasons, but kind of has been on the sidelines still then, and he's still contracted with them, I believe.
Yeah,
and will make a return. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I can't see why he wouldn't. If you contract someone and they win. But he's going to get one to jump back in the ring and a tall order too.
Yeah, because Zach Anderson, great fight. And Zach's been in heaps of great fights.
Yeah, he's just such a good scrapper and never say die attitude and just one of these anytime, any place, anywhere. Take a tag team fight.
Yeah.
Fight both guys.
Yeah, that's right.
Step in short notice against Q recently. And then I was really impressed with him against Q on hardcore. So this one should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, awesome matches. Lots of matches. And I also forgot that Roots is on as well. And
the
8-man tournament. I don't know most of the guys because it's that very kind of like grassroots Victorian thing.
I love this 8-man though. I like it. Like when we talk about what the Roots brand is as opposed to the Rebellion brand, I love the way it's coming together and the idea that you take that idea of the Rebellion 8-man and put it in a Roots kind of, because I know some interstaters were on the bill for this originally, but I love the way it's played out as like the up-and-comer 8-man and let's see who, because this weight class is stacked in Australia.
Yeah, it's a good scene to be in.
Yeah, so let's see who the next, I think, I'm pretty sure we talked about this last week, but I think like if you're talking about divisions lacking the star power that they used to have and they're not really being a marquee weight class in Australia, I think 63.5 is going to be the one.
Yeah.
Like there's just a lot of talent that are racking up the fights and becoming this new generation. I think the next couple of years at junior welter or super lightweight, whatever you call it, is going to be big.
Yeah.
And no, yeah, this is, and I think an 8-man is such a fun way to
Good way to do
hammer out.
it.
Yeah.
Like the old school way.
Because not just for who ends up winning, and I think the winner, you could probably be like, okay, let's get something big on the Rebellion card, but just all the matches that you can just get the winner and then shuffle the rest of the guys up to see who fights. It really, an 8-man is a great way to build a division, build some stories.
I think I did
matches
the
people want
old
to see.
draw the name out of the hat kind of thing.
So I did a live the other day. We was talking about what the draw system is going to work. It is going to be done at weigh-ins. Yeah, they're doing it fun, like old K1 Max style way. Adding a little bit of an element of strategy, like giving guys some. They draw them out of a hat and they can pick where they fit in the bracket. So it gives a little element of selection. And of course, there's, like we talked about, the one tournament, it's a bit of tactics outside of the ring in a tournament as to which fights come first. A lot of these guys have fought each other before as well. So some really interesting stories.
Yeah, that's just another one to get on board with. Like, you got the Rebellion show, but also look at have a good look at the Root show as well, because it's gonna be a big day of fights.
And man, like, oh man, you look at if you buy a GA ticket to Rebellion is $80, and one ticket gets you access to both shows. From a value standpoint, this is all pro Muay Thai. Like, Roots is developmental pro Muay Thai, but these guys have amateur backgrounds too. This is all true pro Muay Thai, 3x3s on Roots and 5x3s on Rebellion. Where else in Australia can $80 get you? You know, you watch a whole 8-man tournament and the Rebellion card hasn't even started yet. Like, to me, that's worth like the flight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll fly there to pay, you can pay a little more if you want something fancy, but $80 for a general seated, you get that. Like, I mean, not everyone's like me and wants to go and watch Muay Thai fights for
I'm very tempted to go
12
now.
straight hours.
I just don't think my wife would will partial on that one. But it looks great. Like, going over some names, I'm just going off the Instagram here. I don't think all the names are on here, but you got Jack Matthews, Jesse Schuringer. Yeah, that's definitely how to say it. Sorry, Jesse. Dan Chen, Josh Lim, Connor Goodman.
I really like Connor Goodman.
Steven Morales. And that's all the names I got just looking at the Instagram.
Yeah.
So
Again, like, I know I've seen these guys fight, but I don't know all of them by name, but I've been really impressed with Connor Goodman. He's one to watch in this tournament. Yeah.
Man, nice.
One of the young cowboys.
Cowboys, get it. So let's go back to the Rebellion card from here. I like this one. Ramesh Habib versus Leo Nguyen.
Good fight.
That's a great fight.
Really good fight.
Really. It's like, Ramesh, I don't know, it's been a little while since he fought.
Yeah. I'd imagine so.
Yeah, I not
I
too
don't
sure
think
the
I'm
last
forgetting
one.
one,
Yeah, it was like in the meantime, but lockdowns and whatnot.
Yeah.
Melbourne copped it pretty tough.
They did.
Yeah. But Leo Nguyen, just recently coming off a good fight. He had was it Domination?
Domination, yeah.
Yep. From there, it's like, I still remember watching Ramesh when we went down the routes. For your
Barry Oliver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great fight.
Yeah, that was great.
And it's like
Trilogy fight.
As well. It's just like I just like really like watching Ramesh fight. You can see he came more so from that kind of kickboxing background.
Yeah, I guess you could call his style like a hybridized kickboxing style. Yeah, likes to fight. Like good control of distance, likes to fight. He's the headhunter, of course, because of the big high kicks. Ramesh been around a minute now.
He does.
Yeah, he has been fighting for a long time. Likes those big high kicks. Like, I think Ramesh is at his best playing if you sort of play long with him. That's where he likes to do his work, long kind of boxing combination. Yeah, I think Ramesh likes that kind of like combination boxing style again, like sort of keep on like nice big teep as well.
Yeah. Which, if you're a long dude, you gotta
have one. Plays that good. Like, I think Leo on the other hand has that kind of pit style, pressure fighting, likes to kind of come forward. And I think, like, you look at the fights that Ramesh has been given the most trouble, like Jordan Godfredson, Alexi really kind of made him work hard, is when you sort of don't let him play that he likes to kind of kick and move. You know, like move long and kind of just play at a little like at a striking distance. If you kind of want to crush the space and really make Ramesh back up and not give him space. And that's the style that Leo's going to play. But has Leo fought at Ramesh's experience level yet? I'd say probably not.
Not
so
quite.
It's kind of like it's a step up fight for Leo. I think he has a style that you might say has the potential to give Ramesh trouble. But not like really. But Ramesh, it's very different. Like you look at who's had success against him. It is kind of like a 5-round pressure game. But Ramesh is very good at not letting you play that game with him and kind of just getting his work done. So, yeah, I really like this fight.
Yeah, it's a good fight for Ramesh to come back into, but it's also a good fight to see where Leo's at.
Potential. And you know, Leo been fighting. Like, WA haven't been coming into state, but, you know, he's been defending.
Yeah, he's been picking
WBC strap over there. And, yeah, a really, really good fight. And if Leo can get the win here, it really puts him in a good standing in this weight and show, which this would also be at 63.5, no?
Yep.
So yeah, this is the higher end of this 63.5 bracket that these guys in the 8-man are looking to work their way up to. So
yeah, nice. Let me see what else. So you got Fann versus Isaac Tomlinson.
That's a good fight.
Yeah,
these two fought
kilos.
ages ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah. Isaac knocked Van out quickly.
Okay.
I think. But yeah, it was like a quick KO. Yeah, they fought a long time ago, but both have rack up some really good form. What weight's this at, actually?
59.
59. You see, Isaac seems to have like a big range at which he can fight weight-wise. Like I thought he was coming in a little bit heavier in hardcore, but that was his first fight back.
Yeah. After
some time. That was a really good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's a little. Oh, I think his WBC title was at 57. Was at featherweight, so I don't know if he's getting. He's pretty solid, dude. Short but solid.
Oh yeah, he's thick.
Yeah, so just can kind of maybe just play across a pretty wide range of weights. But yeah, I really like this fight. Like so active.
Yeah, can't pin him down.
Yeah, really entertaining. We'll have to navigate, I believe, quite a height disadvantage
against Van, who's like only a kicker,
big kicker. Yeah, so that's kind of like the question. This is, can Isaac get on the inside of these kicks? And because once he's in there, he's gonna do a lot of good work, like nice boxing based offense, but he's also just a good scrapper as well. Like kind of a battle of range. I think this one is like, can Isaac spend these fights close and sort of just push it around or just let that kick fly?
Yeah, well, that's the question, isn't it? And it's like, yeah, it's just good stylistic matchup.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. All right, and so going from there, because we'll just quickly get through these next ones before my kids keep coming.
Kids are going nuts, yeah.
I don't think we're going that long. So yeah, we have the turn of Supernov versus David Truong. I don't know much about David. And Supernov, same thing. Like, yeah, I'm not too up. But this is a 53 kilo match. But how does this look to you?
Yeah, again, like I'm not as familiar with David Truong. I've seen him a little bit on WA shows. But I think this is like kind of the story of a bit of this is like WA have been doing their thing for a couple of years, just fighting within WA. So it's interesting to see them kind of back on the scene. And it's a bit like, and it's like you can't really be doing interstate fights without WA. It's like it's cheating. Yeah, but Supernov not fought Muay Thai in a really long time. He's quite little. He's a lot smaller, I would say, than David. But he's been boxing a little bit. I remember Supernov fighting Mini T Williams like a long time ago, and I'm not even sure if he fought Muay Thai since then.
Yeah, haven't heard anything on the
scene. A bit of a layoff fight. Youth is on David's side. Or, I mean, yeah, like been around the game a little bit longer as Supernov. But this would be fun. Like it'd be interesting to see if he's fighting differently off of the boxing. He likes to throw his hands anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be good and good to see. Riddler's back on the scene.
Oh yeah, it's like oh, you just go half this card's WA and most of it's Riddlers.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, it's a large portion of this is WA versus Victoria, which is cool.
Which is we'll go one more. So like yeah, same thing. So I think these might be the biggest boys on the card is 72.5.
They both big 72.5s though.
Yeah, they're huge guys.
Because Dean, I remember
big
fighting
dudes.
more so around like super middleweight, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
okay. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I think this might be a drop down in weight for him. And Riley's just fucking big.
Yeah. he just thick.
Big lad
Big thick lad.
at middleweight.
So yeah, you got Dean Vujic versus Riley Anastas. For 72 and a half kilos there, which is like these boys. Yeah, you look at them, you go easily look they fight a weight
lads.
or two divisions up from that as well.
Yeah, Riley's been in good form, I believe. He was supposed to fight Lucas Sayer not long ago, and unfortunately had to pull out. That would have been a rematch. That would have been a really good fight. I'm not, to the best of my knowledge, riding a couple of wins over in WA. He recently beat Chris Watt.
Yes.
Which was something of a step up fight, I think, for him, as kind of coming into that top bracket of WA middleweights. So a good time for him to be back on the interstate scene. To the very best of my knowledge, making his Rebellion debut. Looking forward to this one. I know I've seen him fight on Roots a couple of times. Again, was a little bit bigger. So yeah, bit of an up and comer fight, maybe.
Yeah.
You'd say for middleweights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is good. Like you need a little bit of an injection in that scene.
Definitely. And that division's starting to move again. It was quite quiet for some time, which is good.
I think you'd see like a lot of people that were like 75 or 76 like are coming down to this division now, which is good for them. It's like, yeah, just you need to fill it out a bit. Yeah. Yeah,
it's good building out because you've got the reigning champion Jay Tonkin now. At the
He's
top of
always
things.
looking for people.
Yeah, and David's down in middleweight too, so could be a fun way for us. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome, and that does Rebellion preview coming up from there. So remember, just check the show notes from that one. So have like links to everything, so you can, if you're not going down to watch the show, buy the stream. Yeah,
it's going to be sick.
Yeah, it should be a good one.
We'll give a shout as well. Davey and Kieran off to the States to fight the same night.
Yep, fight Eddie Abasolo.
Yeah, to fight Eddie Abasolo. That's a big fight for the WBC Nike and Tom title, which is, I don't know, but it's a cool looking belt.
Is that the same as like a diamond title in WBC?
I don't know, but
hey, it's a good fight.
Yeah, it's a fun ass fight. Eddie Abasolo is a little bit of a star for doing weird shit on Instagram mostly, but
wild card,
tricky guy, likes his sweeps, good timing.
Yeah, it's gonna be that kind of that kind of like classic. It's like versus like I guess modern. Neo. And
I know Eddie recently swapped over to MMA. I heard some previews of this fight where they're like, I don't know why he doesn't just fight MMA. It's more the style, but he does.
Yeah,
he's been fighting Bellator, so that'll be interesting. I think Davey will get this. So.
Yeah, I think
obviously
so
I'm biased, but I think Davey will get it anyway.
It should be a good fight. Yeah,
fun fight. So
you all have a packed weekend.
To watch. Well, shouts as well. We just didn't have time, but Muay Thai League have a really really good card.
Oh yeah,
on the same night as Rebellion as well.
Charlie Bob back in action.
Billy Coulter both against high-end tires.
Yeah. I think K Walt's still trying to get on there. I think he just recently lost his opponent.
Yeah.
So that's not fun. Hopefully he gets back on. He's always good to watch.
Yeah.
So shout out to more.
They're doing a big double header too, like a sort of amateur or junior thing in the day. And it's a lot going on.
They're pumping the juniors.
A lot of good promotions doing big talent building stuff, and it's good to see how many of the promoters are doing the legwork to like kind of just get the engine room pumping, because a lot of these divisions do need to be filled out a little bit. Like I actually think there's less fighters in Australia post lockdowns and whatever than there has been in the past, and there is work to be done to get participation up and start to develop the next gen. And it's good. It's easy to just do the thing that makes money right now.
Yeah, of course.
Or it doesn't even make money, but it's easy to just to just use the pros that we got, but you don't want to be in a scene that sort of potentially runs out.
Yeah.
So building for the future, and that's a lot of legwork that I can only imagine. So shout out to the Australian Muay Thai promoters like Muay Thai League and Rebellion.
Yeah, good on them. Keep it up. All right. So that'll do it for this week, though, guys. Thanks for listening in. So remember always to subscribe, like, share the episode. We're on Instagram. Like us, of course. Yeah. We're on Spotify. 5-star reviews.
Yes.
Do it. Yeah. And as always, if you're watching on the YouTube, press that subscribe button. It's not that hard. Yeah, you can do it. I believe in you. All right. All right. Until next week.
See ya.
Gotcha.